income tax for the UAE, crude oil tops after Gaza attacks, and consumer confidence left shaken. This is Inside Business.
Hello there and welcome to the programme. Let's first of all see how the UAE markets have traded today, December 30th. Lizzie Miller has today's market report.
The Gulf Bourse has continued its second day of an upward trend in what analysts describe as a corrective bounce. The DFM index closed at 1,639. That's a rise of 0.36%. 306 million shares were traded with a value of 443 million dirhams. 9 shares advanced and 12 declined. EMA shares fell by 0.43% to 2 dirhams 33 fils. The Abu Dhabi Securities Exchange closed up by 1.59% at 2,355. In total, 98 million shares were traded, worth 142 million dirhams. 22 advanced, while 8 declined. Our lead story today, income tax could be introduced to the UAE within the next 3 years. In the second day of the GCC summit, member states agreed in principle to introduce corporate and individual tax. However, opponents argue that the Gulf ought to remain tax-free to stay attractive to expatriates and foreign investors. On the other hand, the International Monetary Fund has urged the UAE in particular to reduce its dependence on oil and gas. The IMF argues that this can be best achieved by extending corporate income tax to sectors outside the hydrocarbon and banking industries. Meanwhile, the IMF has welcomed the UAE's proposal to introduce value-added tax from 2010. This will replace customs duty by levying between 3.5% to 5% on imported goods. Staying on the summit, leaders say Israel's attacks on the Gaza Strip will not derail their plans to introduce a single currency by 2010. The 6-member council, bar Oman, plan to set up a monetary union and a Gulf central bank. The union will adopt a single currency currently branded the Al-Khalishi. Both the UAE, Qatar and Bahrain have submitted bids to host the Gulf Bank on their home soil. As the violence in Gaza continues, oil prices have remained above $42 a barrel. Experts say the jump in prices was largely caused by fears that mounting geopolitical tensions could disrupt oil supplies from the region. This has been further exacerbated after OPEC announced earlier this month that it would be reducing production. And finally, consumers in the UAE have been left shaken by the economic meltdown, more so than any other Middle East country. That's according to a consumer confidence index survey by Bait.com and website YouGov Siraj. Osama Taha has more.
People living in the UAE fear the worst for their future, but they also say that Dubai remains one of the best places to find work. Almost a third of the 14,000 respondents from across the MENA region say that there are still plenty of jobs available in the UAE. On the other hand, a soaring rate of inflation, a higher proportion of expats who tend to feel more exposed than nationals during a recession, and signs of companies downsizing its workforce have all contributed to their bleaker-than-normal outlook. The UAE was the only country to experience drops in all 4 indexes across the study. The index measures consumer expectations and satisfaction with various elements of the economy. This covers inflation, job opportunities, and the cost of living. The UAE saw a drop of 3.4 points, while Bahrain and Qatar showed a slightly upward trend. Overall, 30% of respondents felt that they were worse off than the previous year, while a third felt that they were better off, and the final third said their financial status was about the same. Osama Taha, Inside Business.
Let's look at some of those important numbers now and see how the GCC and MENA markets have traded today, starting off with the UAE general indexes. Coming up now, let's take a look at the major international currencies against the dirham. That'll be followed by the price of oil and the precious metals. On the way in part 2 of Inside Business, Kurt Ramin will be talking about international financial reporting standards here in the Gulf and MENA region. That's when we return. Stay with us.